We're going to dive into a really pivotal moment in American history today. We're talking about how colonial frustration went from just, scattered acts of defiance to something much bigger, an organized rebellion.
So, when does a protest become a rebellion? I mean, that's a powerful question, right? And it's really the core idea we're going to dig into. That critical tipping point where all that discontent suddenly finds a structure, a voice, and a real purpose. So, let's unpack exactly how it all went down.
All right, so every story has a beginning. And for this one, it all starts with pressure. Just the slow, steady buildup of control, of authority, that pretty much demanded some kind of response.
You could almost think of it like a coiled spring, right? The more pressure the British government applied, with things like the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts, the tighter that spring got. All this potential energy for a response was just building and building inside the colonies. Now, it wasn't a rebellion, not yet, but you could feel that the conditions were getting ripe for one, for sure. Okay, so all that pressure had to go somewhere, right? It needed an outlet. But here's the thing. Just random, uncoordinated anger, that usually just fizzles out. This is where things get really interesting. Because the resistance, it started to get smart. It started to get organized. And right at the heart of this new organization, you have the Sons of Liberty. And look, this wasn't just some random mob causing trouble. No way. These were structured groups, actual networks of patriots who totally understood that the only way to really push back was to work together. You could almost call them the architects of this whole new coordinated defiance, one that could actually work across all the different colonies. And their strategy was, well, it was pretty complex. This was way more than just shouting in the streets. You had coordinated protests. I mean, they were happening in multiple colonies at the same time to send one unified message. Then you had economic boycotts, which, let's be honest, hit Britain right where it hurts, the wallet. And of course, the public demonstrations were all about being seen, about showing a united front. This was all calculated. It was strategic resistance. But, an organized movement needs more than just a plan. It needs a voice. It needs leaders who can tap into what everyone's feeling and turn it into powerful, memorable words that actually inspire people to act. And well, that's exactly what happened next. And here's one of those voices, Samuel Adams. Courage, my countrymen. I mean, just listen to that. With just 3 simple words, he's not talking at people, he's speaking directly to them. It's a total rallying cry, right? It's a message designed to take all that fear and uncertainty and forge it into pure resolve. Then you've got Benjamin Franklin, and he's delivering a message straight to the British authorities. Just listen to the tone here. You will find a resistance. That's not a plea, is it? It's a promise. It's this calm, kind of steely warning that, hey, your actions are gonna have consequences. This is the voice of an opposition that knows it's coming. And finally, we've got John Adams. Liberty must at all hazards be supported. Whoa. I mean, that is not a suggestion. That is a flat-out declaration of a fundamental principle. That phrase, at all hazards, it just raises the stakes completely. He's saying liberty is non-negotiable and absolutely everything else comes second. The conviction there is just absolute. So what happens when you combine that kind of hardcore organization with this incredibly powerful, defiant language? Well, a really profound change starts to happen. The entire nature of the resistance begins to evolve. And you can really see that transformation laid out so clearly right here. What used to be scattered and totally spontaneous was now coordinated and organized. The resistance wasn't just reacting to British policy anymore, it was starting to proactively chase its own goals. And that, right there, is the crucial point. That shift from just reacting to a problem to actively trying to build a new future. So really, this is the key takeaway. This wasn't something that happened overnight. It wasn't one single event or one specific day. No, it was a process, a slow, methodical, and totally deliberate transformation from protest, which just kind of questions authority, to a full-on rebellion, which challenges it head-on. And all of this leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We've seen how protest became an organized rebellion. But what's that next step? What is that final, irreversible line that a movement has to cross before it becomes a full-blown revolution? Now that's something to think about.